My crack team of researchers has brought to me the most heated internet debates, and I will resolve them. Take it away. The dress is blue and black.
What in the hell is he talking about?
The first time I ever saw that dress, it looked to me to be white and gold. I could not see the blue and the black. I stared. I tried so hard. There were all these tricks, look at this color first and then look back, whatever. Then, all of a sudden, it switched to my mind's eye. And now, I cannot see the white and the gold. It is definitively blue and black. Nihil obstat. How should the giraffe wear? Oh, wow. Well, no, number 2. Obviously. You wear the bow tie at the bottom of your neck. Because the bow tie is meant to bring together your shirt collar. So where would the giraffe's shirt be? Where would the collar land?
Yeah, how high would his collar be?
That would look ridiculous if the giraffe wearing a tuxedo had his collar all the way up under his chin. That would be silly.
That
would be
neck.
Absurd. Yeah, it's a long neck, but my shirt collar doesn't cover my whole neck. When I'd look like a 1920s gangster.
22 and a half. 22 and a half.
If I had my collar, look, just right here. My collar goes to here. There's a lot of neck. Well, this is not difficult at all. Number 2. Yanny, okay, play it.
Laurel, 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 Laurel.
You don't need to keep playing it. I got it. This is Laurel. I don't even hear Yanny. Play it again. I know I just told you not to play it again, but...
Laurel.
I'm trying to hear Yanny.
Laurel, 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 Laurel.
Yeah, just Laurel. I don't even know how you hear Yanny. It's Laurel. Next one. Is it soup? Yeah, this is a species of the long-standing philosophical question. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Ah, foreshadowing.
Is cereal a soup? And the answer is no, I think. However, like Bertrand Russell describing the ontological argument, it is easier to think that there is an error with the argument than to point out exactly what the error is. So what distinguishes the cereal from the soup? You couldn't say that it's because the cereal is cold, because there are cold soups. A gazpacho, for instance, is a type of soup, but it's cold. That's not the reason that the cereal is not soup. The cereal is not soup because it is not cooked or prepared as a cohesive whole. So when I make a nice tasty soup, or more likely when sweet little Elisa makes a nice tasty soup, it's in a pot and you put all the ingredients in the soup and then it cooks for a long period of time. And maybe you add a little something at the end like a shaved Parmesan or like parsley or something. But the substance of the soup is all prepared together. Whereas with cereal, you have 2 distinct elements, the milk and the grain. And maybe in this case, if you wanted blueberries or something, frou-frou like that. But you don't prepare them together. So definitively, the cereal is not soup. Though a hot dog is a sandwich, and that's a question for another time. Is a hot dog a sandwich? I anticipated this. I thought this might come up. Yes, a hot dog is a sandwich. The objection to the hot dog being a sandwich is that it only has one piece of bread. Usually the bun is not split totally in 2. It's just opened up a little bit. So you say, well, okay, a sandwich has 2 pieces of bread, or even 3 in the case of a club sandwich, but the hot dog only has the 1 piece of bread. However, this misses the hoagie. The hoagie is the justification for the hot dog being a sandwich, because a hoagie is put on a piece of bread that's just a bigger version of a hot dog bun.
Well, that explains it.
Now, you could say, well, no, it's not a sandwich because it's not sliced cold cuts. But does anyone really believe a sandwich requires thinly sliced cold cuts? Just because the hot dog, like the vina, is tubal, that's why it doesn't count? No. What about a meatloaf sandwich? A meatloaf sandwich isn't thinly sliced. I don't see any way you slice it, pun intended, where the hot dog is not a sandwich. Is there an argument for it, Mr. Davies?
Just the fact that it's 1 piece of bread. I actually am on your side here, and most people in the control room.
Yeah, of course. That's not complicated at all. Which way do you draw an X? Oh, how do you draw an X? 7. You draw it 7, right? Even if you do it, I write in cursive because I'm proper and old-fashioned. And even so, but even if I were writing in print writing, you'd go top left to bottom right, top right to bottom. Do people do it the other way? Mr. Davies, do you do an X the other way?
I do 7. There's also a few people that do 8 in the control room.
Wait, hold on. I can't. What's the difference between 7 and 8?
Coming down the other direction. The colored line is the first stroke.
Oh, see, it's a little hard because I don't have my Rachel Maddow glasses on. So you're saying some people start top right to bottom left?
Correct.
You know what? If I were righty, I might do that. But I'm a lefty, which means that we die 2 years earlier on average. I think mostly because of mechanical accidents, so it's not a huge fear for me. I'm not willing to formally say everyone should do number 7. In fact, probably most people should do number 8. Although if you're writing longhand, if you're writing in cursive, no, okay, I'm back to it. You should do number 7.
7!
Right now, go to hallow.com/Knowles. As you enter February, continue learning. Continue adding wholesome, valuable habits to your year that will make a real difference. You got to check out Hallow. It is the #1 prayer app in the world, and for good reason. What I love about Hallow is that it helps you grow closer to God through over 10,000 guided prayers and meditations. They've got some fabulous daily prayers that are perfect if you are just starting out. One of my favorites is Bible in a Year, as I call it, Bible in 4 years. A great podcast with Father Mike Schmitz, who was just on the show not long ago. He makes the depths of the Bible incredibly accessible. They've also got a great daily reflection feature with Jonathan Rumi from The Chosen, who plays our Lord. Plus, there are scripture readings, nightly prayers, and the app makes it ridiculously easy to build a routine. You can set up reminders, even join a community for accountability. There are just so many options for you, your schedule, and your priorities. Continue placing positive influences into your life, putting your relationship with God first. Go to hallow.com/Knowles, KNWLES, for 3 months free today. That is hallow.com/Knowles. Does the middle seat person deserve both armrests on a flight? I told you I would be judicious and sensible and to try to find a moderate middle way, a via media. The middle seat person should get most of the armrests on both sides. However, this does not mean that the person in the window seat on the left or the person in the aisle seat on the left, doesn't get a little bit of their right arm or their left arm respectively. What I would say is the middle seat person gets the front of both armrests. And even then, let's be polite about it. Just the inner part doesn't stretch all the way to the side. The person in the window and on the aisle gets a little bit in the back of the armrest. So you can I can't really show this because my arms are connected to my body, but you'd get it. You'd be sharing a little bit. Not in a romantic way. You shouldn't be touching. That would be untoward. And
You're really splitting the baby there. If you had to pick.
Does the middle seat gets most of the armrests, but I don't sever one of my arms just because I'm sitting in one of the better seats. I need somewhere to put it. Why am I supposed to sit on a plane like this? That's ridiculous. What if it's a long flight? I'm going to sit like this? No. But most of it. I give a reasonable deference to the middle seat. How should the dog wear pants? This one I had not considered. The problem, of course, is that the dog doesn't have arms. I suppose the most important feature of pants is that they have to cover the groin. And both of those versions of the pants do cover the groin. But you would never put your arms in pants. That would just be silly.
Wow, you can really dance.
So, inasmuch as the dog's front paws function as hands, and they do, sometimes you can see silly dogs standing on their hind legs walking like a human, then I think you would have to say that, not this. Goes on the back, not the bottom. Is water wet? Water is not wet, actually. Water wets other things. But water is not in itself wet. And I've asked this question rhetorically before, is water wet? But it's not, actually. It just wets other things.
Markella wants to know why, because she hates this answer.
Water is in itself the wettening agent. So a thing that is wet is a thing that has become soaked in water. Water cannot become soaked in water. Water is what it is. I'm trying to think if there's a parallel here. I'm sure there are many analogies that elude me.
A very upset director wants to know, can water be dry?
No, water cannot be dry, because to be dry would be to deprive it of water, which would rob it of its very existence. Oh, there's actually a good example from science.
Science rules.
But what do I know about science? I just read dusty old books. Can light be illuminated? No, light is not illuminated. Light illuminates. It is from light that we get the illumination of other things. So it's the same principle with water. What colors are the sneakers? White, pink, or mint and gray? Mint and gray.
You're a psychopath.
It's
You're just
mint
doing
gray.
this intentionally.
No. You're saying white and pink?
It's 100% white and pink.
It's definitely white and pink.
All right, 2 people disagree with me actually in here.
Hold on, I'm trying.
The gray is pink and the mint is white. What you see as gray is pink, and what you see as mint is white.
No, Markella, what I see as gray is gray.
No.
That's why I see it that
This
way.
one you're definitely wrong, and I'm very sorry. Your eyes
I'm
are
trying to see white and pink.
I can see both, but it's taken with flash. And once you remember that it's taken with flash in the dark, you can start to see that the mint is actually white and the gray is actually pink.
It's taken in the dark with flash. No, I'm afraid you're wrong about that.
I'm afraid you can't see correctly, but that's all right.
Markella, having many more years to have accumulated wisdom and to have understood the mysteries of this world, I can tell you with my maturity and wisdom, it's mint and gray.
The dress is also white and gold, but we can talk about that another time.
Wow. I had no idea that someone on my team would have such skewed perception. Oh, sock, shoe, shoe. What kind of psychopath puts on a sock and then a shoe? Do you? No, you don't. Do you?
No, none of us do. But I think if someone's very like type A, I could see someone doing it like this.
Why would you do it like that? Where do you keep your socks? Do you keep them right by the front door? You keep them in your bedroom or in your closet if you're fancy and you have a big walk-in closet. Is your bedroom hardwood? Some people have hardwood. I don't. I have carpet. So you're telling me I'm going to put a sock on, then I'm going to put my disgusting shoe that's been trudging through mud and guck, and I'm going to walk over my nice beige carpet in that? That would be ludicrous. You just have a disgusting bedroom filled with filth. Daylight savings time.
Yep. Should we get rid of daylight savings time?
My answer for my whole life was no. I like daylight savings time. I like the traditions that began it. I like that it's quirky, that life goes on and things change. I liked that. Then I had children. It used to be fall back, spring forward. But the kids don't care about any of that. So actually, both of them are just terrible because either way you cut it, the kid's waking up at the wrong time and it screws up your whole week. So now that it's better for me personally, I want to get rid of daylight savings time. Does a straw have one hole or two? A straw has one hole. It has one hole in it.
There's about to be a walkout in the control room with this
What?
one.
A straw has one hole.
No, they're saying two. I agree with you, but the rest of the people here.
How does it? Okay, so if you say it has two holes, where does the one hole end and the other hole begin?
Well, if you look at a winding cave that has openings at the end, you might enter through one hole and exit the other hole of the cave.
No, you wouldn't say. You'd say it has two openings. The straw has
It could also
two
be called-
openings, but it has one hole. You're trying to take a hole and divide it into parts, but the hole is not to be divided into parts. That's what makes it a hole.
You just won somebody over.
I took the straw and I bent it in half, and then it would only have one hole.
If you bent it, you're saying the hole begins at or ends at the halfway mark.
You know the halfway mark. But
You just said bent it in half.
I could just close one of the holes and it would still have one hole.
No, if you closed it in the middle, then it would have two holes. If you closed it.
It has two holes because if I closed it, it would then have one hole.
Yeah, well, if you cut more holes in it, it would have like 3 or 4 or 5 holes. That's a lot of ifs. If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. If wishes were horses, beggars would ride. If watches were turnips, I'd wear one by my side. And if ifs and ands were pots and pans, there'd be no work for tinker's hands. If dreams were wings, we'd all learn to fly. If time were a ribbon, we'd tie it to the sky. If roads were rivers, we'd drift where they flow. If stories were
A straw is homeomorphic to a torus. Both openings are part of the same single hole, but this process is a homeomorphism and thus does not create any new holes.